To start this project, we're going to have a square piece of paper and fold it diagonally from corner to crease and make a line. So try to make sure you get that lined up just right, and then crease it with your fingers to make a line, and that line we're going to use for creating the symmetry. Now open your paper and do the same thing on the opposite corner. Now when we open it up, we have the two lines that make an X through the middle of our paper. This will guide us for placing our shapes. You have this printout that I made for you with lots of different shapes. So you're going to use this to get your original shapes. So pick one shape to start with, cut it out very carefully, and then we're going to trace it onto another piece of cardstock paper. So we're using the cardstock paper because it's thicker and it will make more of a mark when we do the rubbing with the crayon onto the back of the paper. So since we have four sides or four triangles in our design, we need to make four of this shape total. I suggest that you put your shape close to the edge of the paper, and then also, like I did here, have them share edges, and it'll make it faster to cut out the pieces. So again, I traced that shape 3 times, and then I've got the original that I cut out, which makes the 4th. So we need 4 shapes total to make our radially symmetrical design. Okay, so now we grab our paper and we're going to line it up evenly between those folded lines. And you can put the shapes however you want, close to the center, far from the center. I'm going to use a little bit of glue and a brush to start gluing down my shapes now. So putting just a little bit of glue around the edges and then picking a placement in between those lines that I folded. Now for the other 3 shapes, I'm going to put them the same distance from the center and the same distance from those lines. Another shape and cut it out. Then we'll trace it 3 more times on the other cardstock paper. You'll notice here that I'm using different colors of paper. This one was printed on green because that's what we had for cardstock. Since the final product in the end is going to be what we see when we rub the back of the paper with crayon, it doesn't matter what color you use for the paper that we glue down. So don't worry about that. Okay, so I've just repeated those steps to create a radial design. Now I'm going to pick one shape that's smaller to layer on top of another rectangle or another shape that I have because having 2 layers can make a really interesting part of your design. Okay, so we want to make sure to have let the glue dry before we do this step, but we're going to pick some peeled crayons, flip your paper over, use the flat side of the crayon to start rubbing. You want to pick a few different colors and start with your lighter color first. We're just pressing down as we rub on the surface of the paper, and the outline of those shapes that we've glued down are going to start to appear. This kind of printmaking is called a collagraph. So it is the texture that we create with the paper underneath that makes the design. Once you've rubbed over the whole paper with the first color, you can choose your next color and start rubbing with that color. And then finally, you can do a third color on top, and your collagraph will be finished, and you will have a radially symmetrical, beautiful design. Way to go! And here's one more example. You can see the side with the shapes glued down, and then the side with the rubbing. Awesome.